Let's get more political perspective now from former GOP strategist Rina Shah. She's the founder and CEO of Relax Strategies and a board member with the Renew Democracy Initiative. And she's back with us this weekend from D.C. Rina, thank you so much for joining us. To start, former President Trump is the GOP frontrunner right now by a wide margin. Governor DeSantis hasn't officially announced his candidacy, but we do widely expect that he will run. It's early, but his polling is well behind Trump. 538 has him roughly 30 points behind. As he looks to officially jump into this race, how do you assess his status as a national figure right now?
From where we sit right now here in the spring of 2023, I think it's very safe to say that Governor Ron DeSantis is a known unknown to the national electorate when we're talking about Republicans. Of course, he's made a number of overtures across the country, whether we're looking at Illinois, California, even Texas, but his own Florida. You're looking at a Republican constituency there that has really loved this governor. Is he ready for prime time is the real question in the minds of the establishment Republicans in Washington. People who very famously did not back Trump in 2016 are now sort of saying, who's the one that can topple Trump? Right now where we sit, Ron DeSantis still has a chance to break through the ceiling that Trump has created. And I think it's very too premature to count him out of the running when he hasn't even announced.
And DeSantis is, as you said, the known unknown and the top challenger to Trump right now. But if it doesn't end up being him, who do you think has a chance to stand next to Trump?
Well, many people have said it's a moderate that can take down Trump. Others have said it's somebody that can come from the far right. The reality is that nobody's going to be right about this at this very point in time, because again, we're at a moment where the primary contests for the Republicans are still quite a ways away. And when you see here with Governor Nikki Haley and with Vivek Ramaswamy and even Governor Asa Hutchinson is a very tiny field. So people are wondering, do we grow this field? And when I say people within the Republican National Committee, do we allow it to become more competitive, robust? Because the last time that happened in 2016, we saw the most extreme voice emerge. And again, that was Donald Trump. So there is a worry that even a moderate, as somebody that is unique in a way that Senator Tim Scott is, for example, from South Carolina, that even that person couldn't cut through the noise that Trump is still creating. I think in this moment, we still should look at Governor Ron DeSantis, because we need to look at somebody that is Trump light in a way, somebody that has similar policies, somebody that has that sort of strongman effect on the electorate, and also somebody that can have that endurance, can show that ability to endure a lot from the critics within their own party.
And Donald Trump this week was found liable for sexual abuse and defamation, though not rape, in the E. Jean Carroll civil case. Trump, of course, is appealing, but that's in addition to multiple ongoing state and federal investigations. Trump in that CNN town hall, though, cited his poll numbers when asked what he'd say to voters who believe this week's verdict should disqualify him from the 2024 race. How does any other candidate, at least in the primary, really compete with his poll numbers? Because to his point, Trump still has his base behind him.
Well, I would caution people to keep citing the polls, because again, when we look at 2016, we saw all the polls were wrong. And right now, a good gauge of public opinion isn't possible when you're looking at just the Republican electorate, because there are a lot of undecided folks. And when I say undecided, there are people that crossed over in 2020 to vote for Biden because they were so disgusted with Trump. Of course, Trump had people vote for him in 2016 and again in 2020. But what he discounts every time he opens his mouth is this growing swath of independent voters in swing states that are going to be the determining block of the electorate for the 2024 general election. What we saw of Trump this past week in a CNN town hall was no different than the Trump we saw in the White House and in his time since leaving. He had an opportunity to perhaps take down the temperature. Instead, he did not do that. He had an opportunity to come out and say, I believe in free, fair, and just elections. And yes, I lost last time, but I deserve to be put back in. We did not hear that from him. We heard more of the same lies and conspiracy theories. And I would caution Republican voters to say, you know, is Biden somebody they can't take a chance on again. I would say it's too early to look at this as just a Biden and Trump rematch. And I realize that's a very unusual statement I'm making when it seems very much so that the presumptive nominees from both parties are going to be Biden and Trump. But truly anything can happen. And I want to give a quick example of what happened in the speakership for Nancy Pelosi. You know, she was thought to have held onto that speakership and somebody was going to have to pry it out of her hands. But she passed the baton to Hakeem Jeffries. I wouldn't rule that out for the Democrats. Biden could still pass off the candidacy to somebody he handpicks, and it might not even be his VP.
That would be very interesting to see happen, but we're not counting anything out for American politics at this point. Rina Shah with Relaxed Strategies and the Renew Democracy Initiative. Thanks as always for your time. We appreciate your perspective.
Thank you for having me.